Alright guys, today I'm going to do a video on Labrada, nickname Mass with Class, and it looks always better on paper than it does to say it because I just can't get those two. Mass with Class, I don't know. Look, this guy was one of the original giant killers. He competed at 5'5", bit over, and weighed in around 180 to 190 depending on when it was, which is, in the ballpark of 85 kilos in contest weight. Not a big guy. Now, and he was competing against guys that were 50, 60, 70 pounds heavier than him. And he was threatening to beat these guys which were bigger and taller than him, like Haney, Christian, Paul Dillett, massive guys. And look, to be honest, I actually didn't remember how really good this guy was at the time, and I think that's because I was sort of wrapped up in the big guy thing, and I really liked the mass and the huge freaky body parts, and this guy didn't have that, but what he did have was super impressive. Now his stats are pretty amazing really. Now from 85 to 95 he competed in about 25 professional competitions. He got 9 first place positions, second 7 times, and twice was at the Mr. O, and third 5 times. He was never lower than 5th, and that's pretty much, from what I recall, was his last competition. So just extraordinary stats. Now, physique critique, and I could pretty much wrap this up in saying one word: balanced. There's pretty much no outstanding body parts on this guy, but equally there are no real weaknesses either. I'll try to break it down anyway. His legs were, really nicely developed. His quads had good separation, and he had a good, but not particularly dramatic, sweep to him. He had a nice small waist and very good and well formed midsection. His chest was complete from top to bottom. He didn't have a really high bicep peak, but it was a full bicep, and it complemented the shape of his triceps. His back had good detail, and I thought it got more impressive the longer his career went. Criticisms of his physique are really difficult to make, as the majority of those criticisms are more based on him being a smaller frame and height. So his width in his back didn't really look like much. Standalone, great, but with it next to another guy like a Yates, of course he's going to look small. But look, just this guy posing by himself, he's a world beater. If he was a taller guy with proportionate weight to his size, he would have most likely been Mr. Olympia. Now, and look, if you put him in today, he'd be a classic physique all over it, and he'd probably win the competition. He was that good. Now, as I said earlier, he was second at the Olympia at 89 in 1990, and I reckon the closest he was, and I do recall this was in 1990 when the Mr. O was drug tested. Lee Haney came in quite a bit smaller, I thought, particularly through the arms and shoulders, and Labrada was actually ahead of him in prejudging. Now, Labrada was a bit smaller than usual and not quite as sharp, but the change wasn't as dramatic as it was for Haney, and it was a really, really tight competition. And it's a little bit controversial. There's been more controversial Mr. O's for sure, but it was a bit of debate about it. Now, Labrada continued on from there and continued to place really well at the Mr. Olympia, but I'm thinking this guy saw the writing on the wall as the era of the mass monsters started to emerge, with Yates winning in '93, and Labrada's placing started to drift a little bit. Still, as I said, he didn't get any lower than 5th, and at the Olympia I think the worst he got was 4th, but he was going backwards a bit, and he had been competing for 10 years at professional level, so maybe he'd had enough as well. Now, the other thing was this guy didn't chase the size, so didn't go to dramatic lengths to coming bigger, and I'm glad he didn't, because I think it would have ruined the physique for what it was. Now, I guess, I wasn't too excited about this guy, and I said, I got a bit excited about the freaky guys, but look, in reflection, this guy was definitely one of the greats at the time. He was always up and amongst it, and to compete at that level and being such a relatively small guy, it's just super impressive. Anyway, look, that's what I've got to say about Lee Labrada. I feel like I've left it short and haven't said much about him, but he's definitely worth a video. Okay, see ya.